On today's episode, Jenene and I start a conversation about a conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah. We talk about cancer, we talk about long-term surviving, and we talk about the stories that people have
Yep.
when they've done that, and the sorts of stories that you want to know.
Absolutely.
Jenene is a cancer survivor. For quite some time now, she's not prepared to share how long.
No.
And she's pulled together a website where you can find all sorts of authentic, genuine stories from people who have done this. How can they find out, Jenene?
I go to www.theroadforhope.com.
Okay, theroadforhope.com. Look it up. Stay right through to the end. I think you'll love it. Hello and welcome to Stories from the Red Couch. I'm Robin Cook and today my guest is Jenene Delahoy. Hi Jenene.
Hello.
Thanks for coming all the way from, where have you come from?
Torquay, Geelong.
That's so impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and you've come to have a conversation, to start a conversation.
Absolutely.
And I love that too. So what's the conversation that we've just actually spent the last hour or so having, but now we're going to share with everyone else?
Cancer. I know. Everyone's going to go, oh, don't want to have that conversation. Not a scary conversation.
A great conversation.
Yeah, a really good one.
So tell me what it is that you're, because there's lots of story here.
Yep.
What is it that you're doing right now that's so interesting?
Okay. I've put together a brand new website that is actually, it's been 15 years in the making. And it's all the information and all the resources and all the stories that people need to know, but more importantly, it gives you hope for everyone who's travelling that cancer journey from diagnosis, prognosis and beyond. So, and the conversation I wanted to start was all those things that happen to you, the things that you're never going to know until you travel that journey, and then you'll actually get there and then you'll go, what do I do? So this is a site where you can go in and you can have a look, and hopefully will make your journey easier and you won't have to search for stuff and things that you don't even know what you're searching for to find.
Because there's a plethora of information out there, and it must be completely overwhelming.
It is, and there's a lot of junk out there too.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of, and there's so much information, and everybody swears by it.
Yes.
And you go, but what is it really?
Yeah. So is this about people's stories, or is this an advice column where you need to buy this and you need to do this and quick go and this is the latest?
No.
Fabulous.
I refuse to do that.
That's great.
No, this is stories of hope.
Okay.
Because when I was first diagnosed, the first thing I wanted was hope. I wanted to know about the long-term survivors. I wanted to know everything they did. I wanted to know their prognosis. I wanted to know how they lived their life, and I wanted to know how long they lived for, and I wanted to know is there something in there that I can hook onto that says, you know what, I can survive this too, and that was really important to me.
And they're really tough questions to ask. You don't just kind of barrel up to someone in the street and start that conversation, or do you?
No,
it's really hard, isn't it?
Because a lot of people don't want to talk about it. No. Because you'll get to a point where you don't want to talk about it, you just want to forget. And I absolutely understand that. But then for someone like myself, where it's like, oh, but I really want to know how long you survive for. I want to know that I'm going to see my grandchildren. I want to know I'm going to see my kids grow up. It was really important to me that I talked to someone who was like 80 years old. So I've searched to find those people, and some ladies have been really kind and come forward, and they're giving us their stories. And some of them have had worse cancers than I've had, and they've survived, and they've got wonderful families, living really, really good, fulfilling lives. And I look and go, well, if they can survive, I can too, you know. So that's what Road for Hope brings. It brings those stories of hope, and it's a safe space, and it's one of joy and happiness, because you get so much doom and gloom out there.
And there's plenty in every aspect of life.
It really is, and you don't want that. It's bad enough that you've just been diagnosed with cancer,
Sure.
Where you think you've got this death sentence hanging over your head.
For sure.
You don't want the doom and gloom. You've got enough of that without people adding to that. So it's a site of happiness too, because, well, have you ever attended a laughter session?
Well, look, no, I haven't. I do a lot of laughing, but I haven't actually gone to a thing to do laughing. So tell me about
you
that.
so have to.
Okay.
Oh, look.
Obviously, you laugh.
It is. You have to go. You're either going to love it or you're going to laugh just because you think it's just so
ridiculous.
and unusual, and you go, really, I'm really doing this. But there are laughter clubs all over Australia.
So how does that make you feel when you go to a laughter club? So obviously you've been to one. So what I'm wondering is, did you rock along thinking, oh...
Yeah, I did.
And then everything changed?
It does.
Wow.
It's in a really happy way.
That must be so weird, though.
It was weird. Let me tell you, you go, oh, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. But laughter's really important. I learned that a long, long time ago, that laughter actually, it lifts your mood, it raises your serotonin levels, and it's actually good for the immune system. So it's really healthy to laugh, because if you laugh, you can't be angry, you can't be stressed, and and you actually see things in a different light. So I went along to a laughter group. I'd heard about them, and Philippa Chalice in Geelong actually was the one who started laughter classes Australia-wide.
Wow.
And so I went along, and they call it laughter yoga, and we laughed in the rain last week, and we actually filmed it, so it's actually going to go on the site as well.
That's fantastic.
It's really, really good fun. And we go away and you laugh because you can't believe you actually did that. And you really did, and you go, okay. But you actually sets you up for a really
that's fantastic.
good day.
When were you diagnosed? And your cancer, breast cancer?
Yes.
Yes. When did you receive that diagnosis?
I was 40 years of age. And what I learned was 40 is...
That's because you're not going to tell us how old you are now, is that right?
Oh, yes, I will. I can. You know what? I'm 50 plus GST, okay?
That's so funny.
So,
we are roughly the same age. I'm a little older.
Well, actually, no, we're the same age because my birthday's Friday.
Oh, okay. Happy birthday.
Thank you. So we are the same age.
Okay.
I thought, but my girlfriend and I had this pact. It's like, you know what, from now on, we're just going to tell everyone we're 55. That's it. No one will know. So, but I have to say, you know what, I'm kind of glad I've reached 56.
Yes.
Because there was a time when I didn't think I would.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's true.
Yeah. So growing old is actually a privilege.
Yep.
Yep. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle it, but you know what? It's a privilege to grow old.
And you've also had an experience similar to me, but even more pronounced, because your mother also died of cancer. My mother died of cancer.
Yep.
Your mother was much younger than mine, and you were much younger than me. That's devastating. It's a devastating thing to have to live through. I know it intimately.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. To grow up without a mother is tough.
Yeah, it is. And going through all of those milestones. So it must be even more,
more important, I think.
Yeah, well, I was going to say important, but that's not a big enough word. Yeah, I'm looking for a word that is all-embracing, because you have a daughter. She's actually sitting here.
Yep.
Yes.
And I have nieces. So
and you're here.
Yeah, and that's why I'm here, because we're all private people.
Yes.
And one day, God forbid, but one day my nieces or even my daughter might be diagnosed, and I might not be here. So this is my legacy to my daughter and to my nieces. And also I understand that these guys are really private people like we are, and they might not ever tell me, or they may not want to talk to anybody. But you know what they'll do? They'll go and quietly Google on the internet, and they'll quietly read. And even if they're not diagnosed, they might be curious, and they'll go and have a look. And what makes me really happy and what's really important to me is the information's there for them. They don't have to ask me, but I know what's there is what I would actually say to them.
Yes.
And then they can take from that what they want to.
Yes.
And yeah.
And so the stories that are on your website are stories of
Survivors, long-term survivors.
long-term survivors.
So, and yeah, and I'm now one of them too. So that was why I wanted to share my story as well, because like I look for a me.
Yes.
And so now that I am that, now I want to share that to let everybody know cancer doesn't have to be in a life cut short.
Yes.
You can survive and you can lead a normal life. It will return to normal. There will be, your body will change.
Yes.
And there will be other things, because cancer's not a short journey.
No.
It will affect you long term as well. So that was a conversation I wanted to start as well, because we never talk about it.
So tell me about that. What changes
Okay.
have you found in your own body as a result of that?
Chemotherapy, radiation has its impacts. And what happens is, and because you, and ovarian cancer, all of that, what happens is, there's not actually there is a word for it, but what happens is, the biggest thing that happens, which you have no warning about, you have no idea it's going to happen, nobody talks about it, despite the fact we've known about it for 150 years, and that is all your muscles down there clam up.
Wow.
They actually freeze.
Okay, so pelvic muscles.
Your
is
pelvic
that
floor
right?
muscles,
Yeah.
they actually lock up.
Wow.
And you can't get anything through.
Wow.
Intimacy is so painful, it's like a knife slicing through you.
Yes.
And it creeps up on you and you have no idea.
Wow.
And you're in a lot of pain. And I searched, it took me 7 years to find an answer. Because you can't walk up to someone
And just say, hey, how
Yeah.
are your pelvic floor muscles going? Are they loose or what?
You can't do that. You just can't do that. You know, even if Mum was here, I'm not sure I would ask her. You know, yeah. Can you? I'm not sure I'd
I
ask
can
her.
imagine.
Yeah, it's just like, you know. So, how do you talk about that?
Yeah.
You know, and so I understand why women don't talk, because it's really difficult. And when I was creating my website, when I was talking to Geelong social media, they said, well, what do you want to do? And I went, well, I kind of want to bring this conversation out. I'd really like it to be a normal conversation, because it really is, it's the facts of life, you know, this is what happens to us. And they looked at me and it was like, oh, wow, okay. And it took me a little while to say, because they're just going to hide, like they're just going to dive, and the conversation will cut really short if I don't say this correctly. And I said, well, can we just talk about sex? And they were like, right, okay. And everyone sort of looked around and went, no. I said, what happens is your pelvic floor muscles just lock up, and intimacy is you can't. And so I want to talk about that, because there is solutions. And it happens to 85% of women.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a massive percentage.
It's huge. And when I found that out, I went, are you kidding me? And I've actually had...
And we focus on hair.
I know. It's my Achilles heel, but I know. Yeah, 85% of women, and I've had, over the years, I've had a couple of women actually ask me about painful intimacy.
Yes.
And I didn't have an answer for them. Not once did I say to them, I share that. And so I'm guilty of...
Yeah, of not talking about it as well.
Now, interesting, my spray tanning,
Yes.
really interesting. I do have a rule. What happens in the spray tan tent stays in the spray tan tent. But
We don't have to share names.
no, but she was a really lovely lady, and I really admired her. She was a nurse.
Yes.
And she came in and we're spraying around, and she just blurted out, you do know what? Olive oil cures the pain down there. And I went, right, okay. And she said, you know what? I tell women that when they walk in the surgery, they look at me and they're totally mortified, but they need to know.
Yes.
I didn't tell her that I was one of those women that needed to know. I
Yes.
still didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But I looked at her and I went, you know what? I really admire you because you are letting women know, no matter how much we feel, no matter how awkward that may be to hear. She didn't know that, but she actually gave me the solution that day. We have olive oil. And
Yes.
I know. And do you know what? It actually works.
Yeah.
It actually takes away the pain.
Okay.
And then magnetic therapy, what you actually have to do is you have to retrain your muscles to work again and
Okay.
remind them to work, and that's done
Sure.
through magnetic therapy.
Okay.
And it actually works. So on the website is my story, all the information you need, and where you can go in to get the magnetic therapy. A lot of research, 7 years, and I've actually used what's on the site, and I can actually say it actually works. Lot of relief, and there are stories on the net for other women, same thing, and they've all said the same as me. Why are we not talking about this? So that's how cancer really impacts the body in a really negative way, and it doesn't just, we're not talking about muscles, but it affects relationships as well.
Yes.
Because your poor partner has just gone through cancer, and then this happens. Neither one of you knows what's happened, and relationships break down. And I don't want to see that happen, because it does have the ability to bring you together and make you closer. And so the men need to know about it as well.
Of course.
And it's something that as couples you can work on together.
Yes.
And you know what? It brings you closer. And it's a really nice thing. So nothing to be ashamed of.
Of course.
And it's you can't really have it round a table, when you're having a wine with your girlfriend, But one day maybe people can.
Well,
they
we
can
should
say,
be able to.
yeah,
We
I
talk
think
about
so.
menstruation, and we talk
I
about
know.
all manner of things now.
Yep.
Still awkwardly at times,
Yep.
but really you just have to push through.
And you know what? You're actually right.
I haven't had to have the conversation myself. Very easy for me to say this.
But it would be really nice if a girlfriend could come and say, listen, all my pelvic muscles have locked up, You say,
Yeah.
you know what, it's okay. Olive oil, here you go. And just go and get some magnetic therapy and you'll be right.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as that.
No, of course it's not.
And
it's really very individualistic. So we were talking before about the stories on your website really are about their stories rather than blanket recommendations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So no, I don't make blanket recommendations, because the information is there as a starting point.
Yes.
And then you take it where you want it to go. And you're quite right, everything's individual, and what may work for one, I am very much aware may not work for another. But at least as a starting point, at least you know what you're searching for and what you're looking for.
I really like that long-term vision too, particularly where someone has received a diagnosis, they've gone through this period of time, and now they're down the road quite a number of years.
Yeah.
To see what it is they're continuing to do to maintain that health, because you don't want it to come back. You don't want to have to deal with that again.
No.
But it happens.
It does. Why that happens, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that you've just got to keep yourself as healthy as you can. And I think an example of that is my aunt. My aunt is, she's probably about 20 years cancer survivor, and she was breast. And now it's developed in the lung, and she's going through this wonderful immunology that's come out, which is fabulous.
I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm really happy. So she hasn't had to go through chemotherapy, so she's kept her hair. But she's got my uncle, and they live next to a vineyard. And my cousin is a medical researcher. And I looked at that, and I asked her, I said, why is our aunt, why has she got it again, and why is my uncle not? and they're both living in the same environment. And my cousin explained it beautifully. She said, we've all got an immune system, and our immune systems are all capable of taking so much and breaking down the environment that we live in. And we've all got the same capacity. But then some of us have got a tipping point, and when that tipping point is reached and our bodies can no longer break down what the environment throws at us, that's when things happen. So, look, you can be the healthiest person on earth,
Sure.
and it could still happen. And I've seen that from experience when I made a DVD very early when I was diagnosed, and I thought I was pretty healthy. And anyway, I went into the doctor, and the first thing he said to me was, do you smoke and drink? And I said, no, but I'm about to start. It's like, and I had a partner at the time who smoked and drank like it was criminal, and he's perfectly healthy, nothing wrong with him. And then the lady who was doing the interviewing and the the videoing at the time, she was also a breast cancer survivor, and she was a health food nut. She ate everything that was healthy. And as soon as she was diagnosed, she went in, she said, that's it. So when she got out, anything that was junk food, McDonald's, KFC, hamburgers, lollies, chocolate, you name it, she went for it. She said, I don't care anymore. She said, I've done the healthy thing and it didn't work. So there's you can't say that this is the right way and you've got to do this, because it's really individual, and all you can do is the best you can for you, and know within yourself that you have, and then whatever happens, happens. So, yeah.
Tell me about the teacups and the teapot, because they're rather beautiful.
I know. How gorgeous are they?
I know, and there's a bag. So I want to tell me about this. So this says the Road for Hope.
The Road for Hope.
Yeah.
So that's our little logo. So that's everyone, they're starting at their journey.
Yes.
And this is the Road for Hope.
Yes.
So, and as they travel through their journey, they've got all the information and the resources and the stories on.
So are you sending these out? Are people buying these, or what's happening?
Well, part of me is giving back, and because hair is my Achilles heel, I very much want to raise money for cooling caps for hospitals, because not every hospital in Australia has cooling caps.
What's a cooling cap?
Cooling cap is when you go through chemo, it's a cap that they put on, and it actually stops, the chemo will rise, and it actually stops the chemo. They call it a bit like brain freeze, but it stops the chemo from reaching the hair follicle. So, people going through chemo don't have to lose their hair. And it's really, I wish they had had that when I was going through. I lost all my hair. I have a perfectly round head. Did you know that? People told me, you have a perfect head. You know that? It's like,
thank you.
I really wanted to know that.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I would love to be able to purchase those for hospitals so that people don't have to lose their hair.
Okay.
So what do you give someone who's undergoing treatment or being diagnosed? And people give you lots of things, and which is really lovely, and they mean it with all their heart, but you end up throwing it out, or it might not be useful, or it's flowers and they die. So everybody loves tea, and I think this is by Christina Ray, and she has a range of teacups which are finished off in 24 karat gold, and they're really beautiful, and from there you can enjoy. That's a lovely gift I can give to you. You can enjoy a cup of tea and know that somebody cares and thinking of you. And because they're beautiful, you just want really something lovely that makes you feel really special.
That's right.
And that's why I love these. This is her petite set, and I call this where the West meets East, or East meets West.
Yes.
Because also when you're sick, you don't want a full cup
of tea. You just need a little bit.
Yeah.
Fresh in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And something special.
Yeah. And too much can make you feel ill. Yeah. So this is why I love this. There's also full sizes as well.
Yes.
It also comes with, it's my Road for Hope Look Good, Feel Good pack. So you feel good with a cup of tea.
Yes.
And then we have the Vanity Bronzing Custard, which on my side as well is the Look Good, Feel Better program, which is available free. So all the cosmetic companies donate cosmetics and also their services, and all patients can go in.
That's
and
fabulous.
It's so good. It's free of charge.
Because it really would make you to have that makeover. Yeah.
They do wigs and everything, and Vanity contribute to that. They donate all their products to
and
the
that's
Look Good.
Vegan.
Yeah, and organic. And
That's fantastic.
You just put it on. It's a bronzing custard, so it's got a self tanner in it. You put it on, and you actually it gives you a really nice natural glow.
Yeah.
So even though you look, you feel dreadful, and you put that on, and it makes you look better.
Lift your
yeah,
spirits.
it really does lift your spirits. So that's why this is pretty special. And all purchases of these, whether they're together or separate, percentage goes towards purchasing cooling caps.
The caps.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. So all the info is on Facebook. So you go there.
Yep.
And hopefully, well, I think you will. I think anybody receives that will smile. They'll love you.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. That's fabulous, Jenene. Thank you for coming all this way.
Oh,
I'm
thank
so
you for having
impressed.
me. Oh,
So how do you think? What do you think of the Sunshine Coast?
I love the Sunshine Coast. I love this. I really love it. And I haven't been up for a long while, and I had forgotten how beautiful it really was.
It's gorgeous,
So
isn't it?
it
It's
really
hot
is.
though, and it's humid.
I know, but the hair did well.
I know, we kind of swim through the humidity
Yeah,
at
no,
times.
no, it's good. It's really, really lovely. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
That's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Stay with us until next week, when we will be talking with someone new.